Hello, Internet. It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today we're going to be talking about Dogman. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. So, Dogman. Because I'm talking about Dogman, I have to talk about Captain Underpants. Why? Because both of them are linked. Because one, they're both created by the same guy, and two, Dogman is a spin-off to Captain Underpants. It's described as a story within a story, like on Wikipedia. So, obviously, I gotta talk about Captain Underpants first. So, Captain Underpants, as you know, was originally a book series, a very popular book series. From what I'm reading here, it sold, I think 80 million copies. Right, 80 mil, yeah, 80 million books, which is a lot. Obviously, I never got into the series, but I do remember the books being like very prominent when I was younger. I remember we had like Scholastic book fairs in school, and I saw the books everywhere. But anywho, so yeah, the books were very popular. So it was only a matter of time before a movie adaptation would be made, and it was in 2017. And the movie was received well, and box office wise, it did all right, did fine enough. Made 73 million domestically, 126 million worldwide on a budget of only 38 million, which was a real shock because this movie was cheap, real cheap by DreamWorks standards. Usually their movies tend to cost like at this time cost between like 150 to like 200 mil, around that point, maybe like a little lower than that, but still they cost like in the triple digits. And the fact that it costs way lower than that is like kind of a surprise. But apparently the movie was kind of like outsourced, from what I remember. I think I'm trying to read like the Wikipedia article that explains it. It says this. Okay, here it is. Studio announced that the film would be produced outside of the studio's pipeline at significantly lower cost. So that explains it. And it's probably a good thing, it cost this low, because if it cost like the normal DreamWorks cost, then it'd be a bomb. So good on them for making this on the cheap. So yeah, and this movie did spawn a show, a Netflix show, which was also well received. So that's good. And then the Dogman series actually started like a year before the Captain Underpants movie came out in 2016. And it was only going to be a matter of time before Dogman got the same movie treatment. And here we are. So, yeah, because this movie is linked to Captain Underpants, and because Captain Underpants is such a well known book, and the movie was also a success, I got to label those things as a pro for Dogman. So that's pro number one. Pro number two, this is an important one. There has not been a single family movie out there since December. The last ones we got were Mufasa and Sonic 3. Ever since then, nothing. It has been a wasteland. It's just been nonstop adult movies. And so that's going to naturally lead to some pent up demand. It's going to lead to parents, being desperate to like get their kids out of the house and watch something that's not Mufasa and Sonic 3. Just watching like anything else. Like anything would be better at that point. So that gives Dogman like a huge advantage. And also the fact that all the big family movies that came out at the end of the year, Moana 2, Wicked, Sonic 3, Mufasa, they're all played out at this point, very much so. They're all very old news. So, yeah, Dogman has a significant advantage. So I will label that as a pro. Another pro is that reviews for this movie, the score was good. I say was because I'm on Rotten Tomatoes right now, and I refreshed the page. The freaking score is done disappeared, but I do remember the critic score being like the high 70s, which is a really solid score. Audience score, I have no idea what that could be. I'm completely in the dark with that one. But I imagine it's really good. I mean, cinema score, which I do have, is an A. So I imagine word of mouth across the board should be quite good. Well, probably, I imagine it is really good. So I will label that as a pro. So good word of mouth. Another pro is its Thursday previews, which are a lot better than I thought they would be, considering we're in January. Well, as I'm recording this February, but still, we're at a time of the year where family movies, yeah, they struggle hard with previews. The preview numbers are like super low naturally because kids are in school. There's school nights to deal with, so yeah, can't be going out late doing shit. So I thought the preview numbers would be a lot lower, but the fact that they're this high, I mean, for comparison's sake, these preview numbers are higher than. Well, I can't use like the Paw Patrol movies. Those didn't have previews. At least I know the second one didn't. But the Bad Guys, that's a good comparison because Bad Guys is also from DreamWorks and is also based off a book series. So it's perfect. Bad Guys, its preview numbers were 1.1 million, and this opened with almost 24 million. So, yeah, I say that's a good sign for Dogman. And not to mention, Bad Guys is actually getting a sequel later this year. So, fun fact right there. But its preview numbers aren't as strong as, say, Wild Robot, which is also based off a book series. I don't know if it's a series or it's just one book, but it is based off a book. Yeah, Wild Robot, which came out last year. This had a preview number of like almost 2 mil, so it's like Dogman is in between the two movies. So yeah, and Wild Robot opened with like over 35 mil. So Dogman's in a good place, I'd say, when it comes to box office. So yeah. Thursday previews, I will label that as a pro. And I'm not going to label this as a pro or a con. Got to talk about DreamWorks Animation because their track record is hella spotty, to say the least. I mean, on the pro side, they have a lot of hits under their belt. Movies that are either like super well received or, were, big hits at the box office. I mean, Ant, I guess, did fine. Prince of Egypt did a lot better. And Checker Run was a success, but Shrek, that changed everything for them. Shrek became like their golden goose. You had Shrek, Shrek 2, Shark Tale, I guess, did good, but Madagascar did a whole lot better, which is the reason why it spawned a franchise, as did Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah, Over the Hedge did all right. Then Kung Fu Panda, Madagascar 2, and then How to Train Your Dragon, Shrek 4, Kung Fu Panda 2, Puss in Boots. Megamind didn't do terrible, but didn't do great. The Croods was a hit. How to Train Your Dragon 2 was a hit. Home did all right. Kung Fu Panda 3 did all right. Trolls did fine. Boss Baby did great. Captain Underpants did fine. How to Train Your Dragon 3 did really good. And then 2022 was a really good year for DreamWorks because Bad Guys had a solid run. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish did fantastic. Considering, it started out real low, but it gained like strong word of mouth and it will now soon be an animated classic. And then last year, Kung Fu Panda 4, despite not being that well liked by a lot of people, still made a lot of money. And Wild Robot, also did quite well for itself and will soon be an animated classic. So DreamWorks has a lot of hits under their belt. At the same time, though, they have a lot of misses, which is where the con argument comes in. Because, Road to El Dorado, that was a flop, despite the fact the movie is considered to be like a big cult classic now, and also a meme movie at the same time. DreamWorks, I don't know what it is about their movies, but they've all, like damn near all of them have become memes one way or another. So I find that interesting that the internet just is fascinated by DreamWorks movies. Yeah, Spirit didn't do great, but Sinbad, that was a real bust. I forgot to talk about Wallace and Gromit. That was actually a hit though. How could I forget? Now, Flushed Away, that was a bomb. That movie killed the relationship between DreamWorks and Artman. So there's that. B movie didn't do great, but it became an iconic meme movie for all the wrong reasons, because of its plot and the fact that there's like a more than implied relationship between Barry and Vanessa, a human. So you got human bee relations going on. It was a very weird movie. The Monsters vs. Aliens didn't bomb, but it was kind of an underperformer. So it's kind of a shame because it's really good. Megamind, same thing, but it became an iconic meme movie later on down the line. Then Rise of the Guardians, that was a flop. A flop that it did not, a flop that shouldn't have happened because it deserved better. But it gained itself a cult following. Turbo, that was a flop. Mr. Peabody and Sherman, that was a flop too. Didn't deserve it. Penguins of Madagascar, that was a flop, especially in the States. Abominable, just kind of a bust. No one even remembers it. Trolls World Tour, I can't talk about because that was affected by COVID and was put on PVOD instead of theaters. Led to a shit show between AMC and Universal for a little bit. I'm not going to comment on Cruise the New Age because of COVID, so it's disqualified. Spirit Untamed, that was a bust. No one even remembers that movie even coming out. Boss Baby, that one's weird because it was on Peacock at the same time, so it's kind of hard to really talk about its box office, but I guess by box office standards, it didn't do very well at all. And 2023 was the opposite of 2022 and 2024. Ruby Gillman was their biggest flop ever. And Trolls Band Together didn't do great. So yeah, as I said, very it's very inconsistent, very spotty. So yeah, it kind of makes you like, so there's no like guaranteed success for DreamWorks movies. So yeah, there's spotty track record. I'll label that as a con. But other than that, I mean, I guess another con is that in 2 weeks' time, there's another family movie coming out, Paddington 3 or Paddington in Peru. So that could hurt this movie a little bit. I don't know by how much, though. But it might have a bit of an impact, so I'll label that as a con. But yeah, I think that's it with cons. I don't really see anything else like hurting this thing. So opening weekend, early numbers say this is projected to hit 33 million, which would be great for a movie like this. That's great for the time of the year. That's really good compared to the Captain Underpants movie. And it's not even that far off from like Wild Robot. So yeah, this movie look like it's in a great position. It might actually make like 100 million domestic, which would be terrific. But yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with the 33 million opening weekend. It's total. It should hit 100 mil realistically. So I'm going to go with 100 to 125 million. So that's what I'm going to go with. And yeah, that's it for Dogman. The first, movie that really, the first 2025 movie to really pop off at the box office in a significant way. Now we got one more movie to talk about, a movie no one is talking about, no one even knows exists, pretty much. Valiant one, and then we're done for the weekend. So yeah, so stay tuned for that one. But yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? I got playlists on the homepage, all previous prediction videos I made this year, the past few years. Want to watch any of them, go right ahead. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. I did my 2024 recap videos. Those were brutal to make. So I'm glad they're out of the way. My January recap won't be till about a week and a half from now, at least. So stay tuned for that. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos of me on the channel, you can go right ahead. And there's also the Cancel series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. Let me see. Yeah, I did talk about Dogman. I talked about it one time. It was episode 230. I talked about it, alongside Blink Twice, Monkey Man, and Piece by Piece. And this is when I got its January release date. So, yeah, that's the one time I talked about it. I know I talked about another movie called Dogman, not the same thing. But this is like cartoon Dogman. Animated Dogman. But yeah, I've made 250 episodes of Canceled, so if you want to watch any of those videos, you want to binge watch them all, go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.